Hello, Leo, and welcome to Scout's Tarot, where curiosity and the divine align. This is your December 2021 general reading, and it is for Sun, Moon, and Rising signs, and potentially Venus, depending on how the layout resonates with you. But all right, so apologies for two things. One, I missed your November 2021 reading. It was a busy time, so I was unfortunately not able to get to the readings for that month. And then second, I apologize rather for any background noises, construction sounds, trucks, sirens, blah, blah, blah. I live next to a fairly busy thoroughfare, so it can get kind of loud, unfortunately. But we'll jump right into it. So if you saw your October reading, it focused a lot on manifestation. And surprisingly enough, the card that you got in your previous reading, Leo, was the World card. That was the energy going into November. And it's also the energy coming out of November. So what this tells me here, and again, we start from right to left. This is, end of November, December energy and advice going into 2022. So the World card represents, again, that energy coming out of November and into December. And because it's the World card, what that tells me is that this is about a journey and a lesson that you've learned, right? It's a big event that may have happened in your life, whether it was, relationship, it could have been a new job, it could have been a project you were working on, a big move that you had planned, a family issue that you handled, whatever it was like, center of your life, world stage type event. And Leo, being that you don't mind being center stage, that there's a good chance that you were like a pivotal character in this situation, right? So like if it was a relationship, you were one half of that relationship versus say trying to give advice to somebody else in their relationship. No, this was you, your issue, your challenge, your hurdle that you were presented with. And I think that there was a lot of just trying to manifest what it is that you wanted from this situation, the best outcome for everyone, ideally. Like if the relationship isn't meant to be, then how do we break it off, right? How do we end it if we can't make this thing work? Or if it was in your career. So the work that you've been asked to do, it's not lining up with, the values of the company, your personal values, or whatever it is. How do I make this work? What lessons did you have to learn? What challenges did you have to overcome in order for you to close out that part, right? And I believe you had the Sacred Union card as one of your oracle clarifiers back in October. And Sacred Union can, yes, represent romance, soulmate cards, stuff like that, but it can also represent that divine connection to a job that we do, the family that we have around us, the friends that we keep in our lives, that you want to make sure that whatever it is that you bring into your life, that you carry with you on a long-term journey, that it does represent the values that you carry, that you have in the world, that it reflects the divine respect that you have as well, right? So I feel like the World card energy in November is that you are still on that path. You're still finishing out the challenges that you were faced at that time. Which then brings us to the Knight of Swords energy. So this is for the month of December. And the second I saw these two pairings, I was like, oh, so now that you finished your lesson, right? You gathered all this knowledge and wisdom from the World card because you were presented with challenges and you stepped up to the plate. You finished it. You're done. End of the cycle. Fantastic. December, Knight of Swords. Okay, so it's time to test everything you just learned. So this is an action-oriented card, right? This is, how I always see it is like this is the second in command of the general's armies, something like that, that when it's time for work to get done, it's the Knight of Swords who's going in, right? And you can see full force going in, like the horse is out of breath, like shit's happening. And I think for the month of December, that either someone or something is going to present a challenge that you experienced during October and November. So it could be, there's a task that comes up at work and it's like, oh no, we just handled this in October, that we had that deadline and you all said that we could make it and you waited till the last minute and it didn't happen and I was stuck doing the work, blah, 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 blah. Knight of Swords is that same stuff. Something similar is going to happen. And I always like to say that when you don't answer the challenge the first time around, like when the universe presents a test for you the first time, if you don't meet the challenge, Give it a week, give it a couple of months, give it a year or two, the universe is going to present that same challenge to you again. So this is the universe presenting you with that opportunity to show that you've learned something here, right? So if this is in a relationship with another person, they may put you in a position where you felt uncomfortable or uneasy about something that they did, said, wanted you to do, blah blah blah, in October, November, and you're like, well, not gonna do that again, right? That's it. Knight of Swords is saying sometime in December they may do something similar or the same damn thing again. You're like, no, we're gonna have this conversation. I'm making a choice here. We're not doing that again, okay? Like, whatever it is that you thought was okay, I'm telling you now it's not okay. You've learned your lesson, right? At the World card, yes, you are at a conclusion. It is about like the ending of a cycle, but you want to make sure when you end that cycle and you start a new one that you're doing it with the right intention. And if it's not going the way you want it to go, like now you know how it should go, how it shouldn't go, you want to make sure you take the opportunity to choose what's going to happen next, that you assert yourself in yourself. Assert yourself in your place, in your relationship, in your job, in your family, whatever it is that you've learned in the last 2 months. This is your time to take action and defend yourself if necessary. If someone comes at you like, yeah, but remember how like last time we did the thing and you was fine, you're like, I was not fine, and we are not going to do that again. Which then brings us to our King of Swords energy, which these two hand in hand, like the second I saw once the King of Swords came out, I was like, oh, okay. So not only are you being tested, but now you're being asked to hold steady, right? That you have to be the authoritative figure in your life when it comes to things that, to issues in your life that have impacted your world or your family's world, the world of your partner, your job, friendships, whatever it is, whatever that lesson was, whatever just ended for you, Leo, that you're like, okay, I'm done with that, lesson learned, I'm glad it's over, I learned a lot from it. You're now armed with that knowledge and wisdom and insight. And the universe is saying, as you go into 2022, remember that, right? Act with that clarity and communicate effectively. That sometimes you're not always going to be able to I don't want to be like, be sweet and sensitive about it. Sometimes you're like, look, partner, I know you were very comfortable with, such and such, but I'm not. And if you're not going to be able to align with that, if you're not going to be able to adapt, or we're not going to be able to figure this out, if this conversation isn't landing, we may need to have a serious conversation about the future of our relationship, or the future of my job, or the future of, how our family gets together for the holidays, whatever it is, like whatever the challenge is that you learned in October and November, you'll be tested in December. And as you're leaving December, after you go through the test and you make the choices that align best with the lessons that you've learned, that you may need to put your foot down, like, okay, so now that we know we're not doing that anymore, this is what it's going to be like. Are you on board with that? And it is having the conversation. It's not saying you got to like cut people off immediately, but you at least got to let them know that this isn't going to stand anymore. Okay, so we're going to move over to, there's a lot of fire in this one. Like, yeah, Leo, this is legit. This is super legit. But okay, so we're going to move into the Oracle of the Seven Energies deck so we can get some clarity for the World card energy. Because, again, Major Arcana, this was an overarching theme in your life that you probably have been on this journey, if not for the last few months, then maybe longer than that. I mean, we have had, 2 years basically of a pandemic. World shifting, and for some it was just staying at home. For others it was trying to hold on to the family members and friends that you could, that you trying to keep them healthy as long as you can. And it's been a challenge on a multitude of levels for people. So there have been some lessons here, Leo, and I think that this overarching energy has been this World card energy hasn't just been one thing, right? Okay, we have number 28, which is Broken Open. I'm going to read this one because it definitely seems like this aligns well with the leaving something behind energy, right? So this is, oh wow, here we go. So there are situations in life when you see the value of loss, grief, and a broken heart. Yet it's not the pain or loss itself that must be the focus of your attention here. No, not even the story of what happened. The details surrounding what has brought you to your knees is as important as what results from the experience. the world card lessons, man. Can you see that this situation has broken you wide open, enabling you to have an even greater capacity for love, compassion, empathy, and understanding? You cannot be the same person as you were. The only way forward is to move through it without resistance or manipulation, without attempting to bargain with unseen forces, because none of your usual fallbacks can put you back together again. Which then aligns with that Knight of Swords energy, man. Just you gotta take that step. You can't let the hurdles of the past keep you from charging forward. I'll continue reading. This is very interesting. If you do fall prey to self-absorption or self-pity, it will just make it harder to get to the next gradual phase leading to relief. Yet even if you are prolonging the inevitable, you will get there eventually. The gift is in accepting who you've become as a consequence of integrating this difficult experience and allowing yourself to be more than you were. This wisdom comes at a high price, but the value of your experience of moving through and to the other side is unsurpassed. Love the you that is the result of being broken open by life's challenges and lessons. Holy smokes, Leo. Wow. Yeah, this was a challenge, and obviously I didn't know this. The broken open card was going to pop out. So this, to me, this is the world card in the challenge of your life, Leo, at least in the past year or so. I think does reflect a lot of the challenges of the pandemic, of trying to transition into the quote unquote new normal. That it's not been an easy lesson. It's not been a journey that you will that you may look back on with fondness, right? It was hard. It was full of loss and grief, and just this is how I'm reading the card. This might not resonate with everyone, but to me, like, this challenge has a lot to do with the end of what used to be your normal. Not the normal, but your normal. That whatever it was that you may have been relying on to keep you moving forward, the last few months, few years, that's shifted, and it has changed who you are. That by going through these challenges, going through these difficult experiences, you are becoming a new type of you, a new version of you. Someone who's, yes, you have gone through hardship, but you also now through that hardship recognize and embody empathy. And the Knight of Swords energy, okay, come on. The Knight of Swords energy presented through December is asking you to take that which you've learned, the experiences that you've gone through, the conclusion of that person who you were, and be that person now, and make choices as you need to that reflect on who you are now and not who you were before. Wow, that broken open, that really hit me. I almost feel like I'm gonna cry. Wow, because it's real. It's a real energy when you try to learn the lessons at the end of a journey that wasn't positive, right? Like, not everybody's journey is going to be sunshines and rainbows and Skittles or whatever the fuck. That sometimes it is going to be pain, loss, grief, absence, that void, things that can drag you down, Leo. That you try to be the center stage and be that light for other people, but sometimes it's too hard. It's too much to be that light and also carry the burden of the challenges that you've gone through and the loss that you've experienced. And now that the person who you were has, yes, broken open, and now there's a new version of you trying to navigate life, that as you're doing that, you embody that Knight of Swords passion as well. That when someone either challenges you, tells you something different, tries to stop you from being the new you, the version of you that must exist now in order to move forward, that you stand up and you're like, no, that's not what this is going to be. You have to assert yourself in this new version of yourself, which, yeah, it does require some fortitude here. So we're going to ask the Wisdom of the Hidden Realms deck for some clarity throughout the month of December. I'm in my magic, spiritually aligned. What advice do we have for dear sweet Leo? Celestial Divine. Can we have one card, please? One card, not 17. Please don't explode all over the table. Not again. Yeah, Leo, this is real. I don't know why I keep saying real, but it feels like there's like a disconnect from some folks here about like how different things are, that they're so different that it's almost unbelievable, that sometimes you gotta like pinch yourself to be like, no, this is my life now. This is who I have to be now. This is the energy that I have to embody now. This is what I have to do to continue going on now. And I think there's this, yeah, disconnect is the word that's coming through with reality. And so throughout December, when this new test, this challenge, this moment where you have to be that person. Maybe you've only been this person at home or in school or at work, and not everybody has seen this new version of you. And you may be presented, you know, the universe will test us. We'll put this challenge before you, this test before you, and it's not going to be in a place where you've practiced being who you are. Now you got to put yourself back on stage, Leo. That's what this is. The Knight of Swords is you're being called up to action. That the King of Swords will rise, but he needs his second in command to show up first. The universe needs to know that you're able to bear this burden first before you can have any authority here. All right, this card turns sideways. Wow, the Desert Prince. Survival and false promises. All right, this is number 19. I'm going to read this one because I'm not as familiar. Okay. All right, here we go. So the Desert Prince. When you stumble upon the Desert Prince, you receive a gift. The plant life that exists in the desert environment is well defended, tough and succulent, even though it gets little or no water. In spite of external conditions, extraordinary life can form and thrive. Wow, Leo, holy yeah, I'm damn. Okay. This is, it aligns so much with the Broken Open Oracle card. Because you've had to endure so much on the external, the degradation of what was your normal, right? The expectant, like you expect a plant to live in a place where there's water, sunshine, all that jazz. You've been in a place where most plants would not have survived, right? That the ivy would have died, the oak would have suffered, but you are a type of energy that has been able to thrive. And the fact that, you know, Leo's obviously fire sign, that there's the heat of this space, the external conditions that you've had to endure was not enough to smolder out your flames, Leo. That you've been able to hold on, that you found a place to hold your essence, to maintain your sanity, to hold on to your passion, your love, your empathy. And the Knight of Swords energy is reminding you that who you are now, that succulent, that Desert Prince energy, is who you can be when that challenge is presented, when that Knight of Swords is called upon, that you have the fortitude to hold on, to make it through, to you know, be tough, have courage, and dare to dream no matter what the circumstances. It may seem to be a hard time, but not only will you survive, you will thrive. In spite of conditions, you'll succeed. Dry spells are also true tests of faith and courage. Expect nothing less than what is in your most precious dreams and watch miracles manifest. Yeah, this is just tests of courage and faith. It's not a fun experience, Leo. I'm not going to sit there and be like, whatever the challenge is, you're going to knock it out of the park and you're going to do, you know, dances in the rain because it's going to be great. Whatever the challenge is, it's going to test you. And the universe is presenting this test here because it knows that in order for you to be this new version of you, you need to be able to put it on the scales first, right? Balance it out. Make sure you can handle it. And as that happens, as that test happens, we move into the King of Swords energy. And we're going to use our super attractor cards to get some energy and some advice as to how you can move forward, to see what resonates for you. Because this is heavy stuff, Leo. This is not, like I said, happy-go-lucky. That life is not always, like I said, rainbows and kittens. It's not always going to be that. And when it isn't, that's when we have to truly rely not just on ourselves, but the people around us. And I want to get some advice, because the energy I'm picking up here is definitely a solo journey. And so it will ask a lot of you. We'll see what 2022 has in store when I do those readings. It'll happen. At some point, I will get to those readings. But for you, Leo, what advice does the Celestial Divine have for dear sweet Leo, leaving December and going into 2022? What advice do we have for dear sweet Leo? All right, let's see. Because, we got some overarching energies. We got a test of true faith that will require your courage. Now, once you pass your test, once you take the test, whatever it turns out to be, and however you choose to react and choose to move and act, what does the King of Swords energy embody? Oh, we got 2 here. Is this 2 or is this 3? Nope, it's 2. And let's not shove everybody around. Okay, this is the first one. When I'm tuned into the energy of abundance, I become abundant. And, okay, hold on. When I merge my desire with faith, I can take action from a place of peace rather than control. Okay, yeah. Whew, wow. So I think this feels like an after. Like after you make a choice, after you do your thing, that when you're in tune to the energy of abundance, you become abundant, which I think kind of counters. Oh, look, the Desert Prince is a lion in there. I didn't even see that. Look at that, Leo. Ooh, I'm sorry. I'm sure y'all saw it, but way before I did. Wow, that's beautiful. Okay. So in this instance, that when I'm tuned into the energy of abundance, I become abundant. That the Desert Prince is talking about the harsh conditions, right? The external challenges that we face that can grind us down, to make us feel like we aren't going to be able to make it, because how could we possibly survive this? That once you get through that test, and you'll know that, oh, okay, it didn't kill me, it made me stronger, right? I can have faith and courage in myself, and fortitude in the lessons that I've learned, that I can take refuge in the lessons that I've learned. That when you tune into that energy, that you have something to offer, that when you're broken open, there is nothing but light inside. It's a different type of light, maybe a light you didn't expect to see coming, but it's still shining bright. Leaning into that Leo fire energy, that you can also become abundant, that you can bring that energy into other areas of your life, that it doesn't just have to be in this one spot, this one little succulent in the desert. No, you can have a garden in the desert if you're willing to water it. Well, to a degree that doesn't drown the plant. But and then lastly, when I merge my desire with faith, I can take action from a place of peace rather than control. The King of Swords is not out here like the Knight of Swords, right? Swinging and charging through. He now has both knowledge and power. So they are able to sit upon that throne. And I say he, not for my masculine sense, just for the sake of the title, I guess. That the King of Swords will reside in a position of power that doesn't necessarily have to rely on brute force, right? It's calculating. There's an energy behind it that allows it to have a sense of control, but not total control. And from just having that knowledge, there is peace there as well. That wisdom, that insight. You're like, I don't need to be in control to know that I have it, right? And that by being in that state of mind, to know that you are embodying who you can be now that the world shaking events and challenges that we've gone through, now that's behind you, and you know that you have adapted to the environment that you now live in, that you've adapted this new self into the world that you live in, that you are now navigating this space, you're making choices that align with who you are now and not who you were before, that you can now take a more authoritative approach in other areas of your life, that you're able to do that from that place of faith, because you're allowing yourself to embody the energy of abundance, that you are not offering fragments of yourself anymore. You can offer your whole self again, and that peace will result from that faith, that you can now move forward. You can enjoy aspects of your life again. You can be who you want to be again now that you've learned that lesson and you're living in that space of abundance. Whew, that was a lot, and I hope that all made sense. I do also hope that it resonated. This was a little bit longer than I had intended, but this was a heavy reading, and I really did almost start crying at some point. So I'm gonna end it here. Please feel free to like, share, subscribe, comment as well if this resonated with you, and I will see you all in January.